affect folks trying to clean up. Let's talk travel conditions. Obviously, that was I-20, so obviously there could be some issues out there. When it comes to travel, rainfall causing the potential for flooding is going to be a big concern across eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, a lot of Louisiana, Mississippi, nearly the whole state under a flood watch. And then we've got a lot of south and central Alabama into even Georgia and the Florida Panhandle with a flood watch as well. Heavy rainfall has already been out there. You can see where we are right now with it now across a little bit of southern Arkansas, but Louisiana taking the brunt of it right now. But this rain is moving into Mississippi, where we had very heavy rain yesterday. Jackson, we had our 7th wettest April day on record yesterday with more than 4 inches, nearly 5 inches of rain. And now we're about to get more coming in there. In fact, it has started raining already. Just in the past 6 hours, we've seen this very heavy rainfall here across eastern Texas and southwestern Louisiana. You see this little area outlined here in bright pink. This is a flash flood emergency that we've been tracking just south of Jasper in Texas. It's north of Beaumont, south of Jasper. That area, again, inches and inches of rainfall, more than 5 or 6 inches of rain. It came down in a very short time. The rainfall rates when that was all happening was on the order of 4 or 5 inches an hour. If you can imagine that kind of buckets of rain coming from the sky here. Very tough for any areas of drainage to keep up with. Now, today the concern is still very high when we have a look at travel across southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and Alabama. You get ready here, I-65, parts of I-20, if you're traveling I-10, all are going to be impacted by these storms that are tracking east. Right now, it's I-10 that is feeling the worst of it, Alex, here as this storm rolls out of Baton Rouge and east and heading towards New Orleans. It's going to be a nasty wind maker, unfortunately.
LSU campus, they closed. You got a high school there, Kirbyville in Texas, also closing. So this has certainly had some impacts here already this morning. And, we still have these storms that are ongoing and continue to go for the rest of this day.
Yeah, so we're watching what's happening with the storms in Sevier right now. The heavy rainfall has already been a problem. That will actually, I think, continue to get worse today with the risk of flooding. So let's look at all of it. We've got to look at the warnings for you right now where we're tracking a lot of active weather across southern Louisiana. A number of warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and we have one tornado warning that is active right now. This is actually now moving from Louisiana into Mississippi. So we're seeing that progression of storms. Just to give you kind of the big picture, I don't know what color to use because all the colors are on the radar, right? I'll use blue. These thunderstorm cells are the ones that are outside of the main line. And then we've got the main line right here, this little bow echo that is tracking east. So we've got two separate areas but adjacent of severe weather potential. So let's zoom in first to the line that's coming through Baton Rouge and what it's done already. St. Francisville got winds of 60 miles per hour out of that in new roads. Remember, we were watching a tornado warning there. Winds had gusted to 62 miles per hour at the automated weather station there. And numerous storm reports have come out of Lafayette area, again, where this bow echo has already come through. And again, tracking that right now, you can see it right here. It's through Baton Rouge. The worst of the wind potential is through Baton Rouge. Now we're in the very heavy rainfall threat, and a new flash flood warning just went up there. New Orleans, we're under a flash flood warning as well as a severe thunderstorm warning. And we're also tracking that tornado warning for you here just in the Picayune area in Mississippi. So tracking that, the Pearl River County and St. Tammany Parish, portions of those are under this tornado warning. It does include Picayune. This goes until 9:30 local time. We're tracking this particular portion of the cell that's tracking mainly to the north and east. As this does include Interstate 59. We're going to be watching this zone again for all the hazards. And we've got a lot of heavy rain, blinding rain actually, so it's very difficult to see. If you're under this warning, make sure you seek shelter and get into your safe area, interior room, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. A storm shelter, if you're in a mobile home, a storm shelter is the safest place to be. So this area right in here is where we're tracking that apparent rotation on radar. We're tracking that and moving it to the north and east. Highway 11 is right within this warning as well, along with I-59. You can see kind of this moving like this, so likely could track right over both of those, Highway 11 and 59. Again, watching this as we continue to track track the movement off to the north and east. Seeing Tammany Parish and Pearl River get under this warning until 9:30 local time. So this does include Picayune at 9:03. It's basically right here, right now. We track it north of there to 9:14, McNeil 9:20, Derby at 9:34, and then Poplarville, which is just outside of the warning, at 9:47. If it does indeed that area rotation hold together here, you'll need to take action. Let's jump down into New Orleans, and we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Orleans and St. Bernard parishes. This one does say tornado possible. So still watching this cell. We've been tracking this cell for quite a while. It's always had that sort of potential for rotation with it, but it hasn't panned out, thankfully, yet enough to warrant a tornado warning. But that potential is there, and it's right in here, actually, just east of New Orleans, where that potential rotation is. Again, not tight enough to warrant a tornado warning, but something to keep an eye on. So make sure that you are ready and keeping an eye on this. You're ready in case a tornado warning is issued. This is the kind of storm you just want to avoid being outside and avoid traveling if you can. It's moving to the north and east, and we're seeing a lot of heavy rain within that as well, which is why there are some flash flood warnings there in the background as well.
East into Florida and Alabama.
And you might need even to wait even beyond that, because some of the flooding might take some time to recede, Mike. We got a lot of rain concerns. Thanks for that update. Mike had to hustle up a little earlier today as these storms are moving fast through Hattiesburg. Now we still have a tornado watch that is up and does include parts of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle.
Yeah, that's out until 5 o'clock here. So several more hours of having to deal with that risk for tornadoes from these storms. And you can see the radar showing you the thunderstorms that have been rolling on by, and a few of these warnings coming in, including some of these storms that have been coming now out of the Gulf of Mexico and tracking towards the north. One of those storms right now that includes us here in Baldwin County until 12:15.
Yeah, that one also around Gulf Shores too, watching that cell that has just come in. And Greg Postel warned us that those cells are the ones that may exhibit some rotation. Not at the moment, but they may. So we want to make sure that you're staying certainly in tune to the weather. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see Pascagoula stretching up towards McLean and Citronelle. I mean, this line of storms itself is what's been doing a lot of damage this morning, taking down tree limbs, causing power outages, and still remains intact.
And of course, the heavy rain that's been accompanying these storms as well. That remains the case here into Louisiana. The rain that's moved through New Orleans now, because we've been talking about most of the early part of the day, rain coming through, adding up several inches, and that has prompted a flash flood emergency here for us until 2 o'clock. For parts of Jefferson, Orleans Parish here in there, the rainfall totals being estimated by the radar. I mean, we're talking 7+ inches of rain in a pretty short period of time.
The rates have just been unbelievable, falling at rates here at several inches per hour. So for us, I mean, you look at how do you get 8 inches of rain in less than a 4-hour period? Because really, this isn't really all in the past 6 hours. I would say the past 4 hours is when the bulk of this rainfall has happened.
So with that being the case, flooding being observed, we've been talking about roads that have been impassable in some cases here, water covering roadways here. Here's a report out of the Chalmette area here of roadways being flooded there. It's really been a mess. And then continuing off towards the north around Slidell. That's another spot dealing with a flash flood warning up towards Hattiesburg, the Jackson area. It's just all over the place. This rainfall, it continues to have a big impact on us.
Jackson's tough because yesterday you had a very wet day with more than 4 inches of rain. It was your 7th wettest April day on record, and now look at what's happening again. More heavy rainfall. So everything was saturated, streams and creeks running full. So definitely concerned about more flash flooding here, and there is a flash flood warning in effect.
Absolutely. So until we can get that out of the way, we're going to have to deal with that risk. And you'll see the future radar shows you how this rain is going to be around here for the next couple of hours. Finally, New Orleans drying out.
It takes through the afternoon, though, guys. Be safe out there.
We'll stay weather aware.